Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for the Tarantula Knight, the God Pede, and God Cicada. Here's how he scales with Legend King Ojer and some Transformers. Alright, and here's his box. Pretty standard Bandai box. And then, note that in all of his poses, he's always kind of like hunched over. He doesn't come with instructions or any collectibles or anything like that. So here's a 360 view of the guy. He looks pretty cool. There's definitely some elements I don't like of this robot now that I have him in hand. One thing I need to point out, it's hard to tell on camera, but he does have a yellowing issue. So there are like some differences between his white, like the abdomen and this section. These are nice crisp looking whites, but then he's got like off-white here on the bicep, on the outer thighs. That's an off-white color. So his white is already, I don't know if it's yellowing or if they just use two different kinds of plastics. It's close in shade, but this is like the first figure I've ever had that started yellowing like right out of the box. So that's kind of disappointing. But it is noticeable in person. But overall, I would say like the aesthetic of this robot is pretty good. Yeah, I don't really like that he's always hunched over and he's got to have his legs apart, because once you straighten him out, he doesn't look as cool. But yeah, overall, I'd say this robot's kind of an 8. He's not the 10 I thought he was going to be, but I really do enjoy the colors. The white is like really cool. You don't really see a lot of robots that are just like pure white. And of course, the chainsaw really adds to him. I don't know if you count that. And here's how he looks when he's all straightened out. And I think you'll agree that this is just a worse look. It just doesn't work. He's just very lanky looking. I guess in the show he's always doing like really action poses and he was always hopping around and stuff. But yeah, when you just look at him just in a neutral pose, this doesn't work. It doesn't look great. And let's get a little bit closer and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This is like a little bit off-white. This is more of a pearly white, which I really like. This pearly white color works really well. But when they're right next to each other like that, you can kind of see that this white is like dingier. And I don't think that's intentional because it's pretty off-putting. It just doesn't look right. If they were like in separate places, it would make sense, but you can see like when they're right next to each other, there's just like a contrast that doesn't work. But let's see. So as far as let's look at this guy's head, which kind of bugs me a little bit. It's like really flat. He's got a very flat face. So he looks kind of like an alien. And he's got like kind of weird alien eyes. He's very creepy looking. And I mean, that's probably part of the point. But his face is very flat and ugly. I didn't really like King Ojer's face either. So I guess this is just going to be the season of robot heads that I don't like. But it's pretty cool when you have his mask down. I really like that. You get kind of a ninja vibe. And I guess that's what they're going for when he's all hunched over and doing his action poses. But you get a lot of good articulation. He's got a ball joint neck. He's got like full outward motion, even upward on this joint. It's like a universal joint for the shoulder. And then he's got nice ratcheted joint that gives you 360. You can get more than 90 degrees at the elbow. And then you get bicep swivel. So you have everything you could possibly want. And then he's got crazy, I don't know, this kind of bugs me, but he's got like a chest joint here. So he's got that, and then he's got another ab click here. Like he's just like, he can do some really crazy poses. Like, I don't know, have you ever seen a robot do this? Like doing like yoga, or he can do like crunches. So he can really just like fold over on himself. It's really crazy. Oh yeah, and then these back tentacles or back legs, these can also rotate. These also have like more than 90 degrees at this joint. So very nice. They don't have anything at the foot. And then he's got universal ratchets in the hips. So you can get full outward there, full forward. Well, actually it's hindered a little bit by this skirt, but you can kind of rotate the thigh armor so you can get that. And then he's got a little bit in the back, but not all the way for a back kick. And then he's got a thigh swivel here. And then he's got on the knee, full 90 degrees pretty much. And then he's got ball jointed ankles, which is nice and helpful for all his posing. So yeah, I think they were definitely going with ninja look for him because these are like his baggy pants that you always see. So, because his thighs are just so much bigger than the rest of his body. But yeah, that's about it for this guy. So let's talk about the little add-on centipede and cicada. Actually, let's talk about his weapon first, if we can get him to stand up. So he's got like this blaster and nothing too special. It's obviously just your basic spider kibble. Of course, you can just reattach this to the back here and just have that out of the way. And then you can just either angle that up or angle it down. Just have it on his body. So it's good he has that weapon storage. And then you get the cicada, which in its base mode just looks like this. So you get a nice looking cicada. I thought the wings are supposed to be more like this, like folded on top of each other maybe. But yeah, you can get like a good flying pose. It's very creepy looking. He's got these giant pink eyes. I think that's the color they chose for all the insects, so that's cool. And then these rotate forward like one click. In the box, they're actually rotated forward more than this in the box art. You can see right there, look how forward rotated these are. They are not going to rotate forward like that. If you try that, you're going to definitely break it. I unscrewed this guy and looked at it. This is as far forward as it rotates. So you can see that's a pretty big difference. You're definitely going to break the post if you try to rotate it more than that. That's where it's supposed to stop. There's actually a joint in there that forces it to stop. And then you have like this dual bladed weapon, something to watch out for. And of course the bladed weapon just goes on like any of these rail systems. So you can just clip it like on the side of the arm. If you get this little talon out of the way. Actually, it looks like there's not even enough space to do that. So you really have to have it like on the top of the arm like that. But I think it's, so that's kind of a cool like bladed weapon, I guess. I think it looks pretty cool on his leg though. So I appreciate that that option is there. So you just clip that onto his leg and it gives him like a bladed kick, which is pretty cool. And I think it thickens him up a little bit because he's very scrawny. And then you get the god centipede or godpede. And he looks like this in his regular mode. And he's got, I guess these are like his little pincer tail parts. And then you just rotate him like this, and now he's a chainsaw. And then this is the handle of the chainsaw, so that's very cool. And then if you've probably never seen the other side of it, but the other side looks really cool. It's all silver. And then same thing, this is going to peg on, this one can peg onto the side of the arm. So you could have it like out like that, or like this, or like this. And this part is really, really fiddly, which is kind of annoying. So I wish they had actually tightened the tolerance on this so he doesn't just flop around. But yeah, he definitely looks best on the top of the arm with the blade folded over so that it looks like it's part of his fist. So, I mean, that just looks so cool. I mean, that was really a big selling point for me, was just this $10 little insect that turns into a chainsaw. I know it's kind of dumb, but then you can kind of even almost reach this lever. Actually, I guess you can pretty much totally reach it. So you can like grab this lever and it looks like he's actually activating the chainsaw and revving it up. That's pretty cool. I actually like this look with just the cicada on his leg and the chainsaw here. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and transform this guy. So this series is like the most Transformers Power Rangers series ever. So you're going to go ahead and move these like mandibles out of the way. You're just going to rotate the head up. And it's going to end up basically here, and you can see the face of the spider. It doesn't really click into place, which is very surprising. Yeah, I thought for sure it would tab into place or something. It just kind of flops in there. And then you kind of rotate these mandibles back in place, and you got the front of the spider already. And then let's see. This guy does have some issues with transformation. It's kind of annoying, actually. So you're going to rotate these parts are just going to rotate, and then it's got like a little tab here that tabs into the hollow part of the fist. I mean, a good thing about this figure for quality wise is this is like the only part that's really going to come off, and it's just as annoying as it is on King Ojer. These just pop off like as soon as you brush them by accident. But that's the only part of this guy that really falls off, so that's really nice. Unlike King Ojer, where everything kind of just like falls to pieces. And then this guy doesn't come with any instructions, so I don't even know. And there's all these abdomen joints, so it's hard to tell, like, how do you even transform this guy? He's got so many points of articulation, and then that becomes an issue for the shoulder too. It's like, how is this thing supposed to look? I think... Okay, so this rotates forward like this. Okay, so now you got like the front facing legs and the side legs here. Okay, so that's not too bad. You just do the same for the other side. It's just kind of like difficult to figure out, like, how do you position all these crazy joints? There's just so much to move around and to make everything look good. It's kind of tricky to figure out, but that's his whole first half. And then this is the part that's kind of the most problem, is just his back legs. I think we'll just keep it really simple. We'll just rotate this down. This panel like folds up. It folds like slightly away from the leg. It'd be nice if this folded out a little bit more, but the feet are supposed to look like this, where they're pointing straight down. So this is like his back leg, and you just fold the knee the wrong direction. And then basically you just do the same thing with the other side. And basically that's his spider mode. So you can get there really simply, but if you start moving things the wrong direction, you can definitely mistransform him pretty easily. There's just like so many weird joints. Like, I don't know, is he supposed to be like this? Maybe it goes like this or like this. Yeah, nothing really tabs into place, so you never really know when you've got him transformed properly. That looks kind of right. Yeah, he's actually pretty good about standing on his own feet, unlike any like Beast Wars era figures you're gonna have. So he's got some good ratcheted legs that hold him up. And then one thing you do really need to be careful of when you're transforming this guy, especially the first time when you're trying to figure things out, is this joint here. Because he has a thigh swivel, this is like independent, and you can easily like bend this the wrong way when you're trying to transform him. You just got to make sure you're always mindful of this. So it's not really, to be honest, this is like not a great design for like little kids, where they could easily torque this and break this off because they're trying to like transform him and doing it like an incorrect way. Let me just clean this guy up a little bit. I think he could look a little bit better. Okay, that's the best I can do. That actually looks pretty cool. These little side legs unfortunately look kind of like junk. They don't even really fit the theme of the rest of the legs. It'd be nice if his toes were colored gold so you could actually read this a little bit better. But not a bad looking spider mode. He kind of fits on the turntable. He's a little bit too wide. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's not really gonna work. His legs are just too wide. But yeah, he's a good looking spider. I really like this alt mode. I'd say this alt mode is kind of a 10 out of 10. It's just, everything comes together very nicely. He looks very cool. He looks kind of like a Tachikoma from Ghost in the Shell. I just really like this robotic spider. Yeah, he looks really cool. He's only got 4 eyes, I think. That's kind of a shame. Maybe that's how many eyes spiders have. I have no idea. But yeah, from the bottom, pretty clean too. He doesn't look much like a robot. He doesn't look like a transformer, really. Yeah, not a bad look. And then compared to like the other insects, actually I'll do an insect comparison later. So this is like kind of where you start to get him into his combined mode with King Ojer, which is kind of it's kind of an afterthought. But yeah, this is how he looks. The best I can transform him. I think his back legs are supposed to go up more, but that requires you to like really fiddle with this joint, which you can't really turn by doing this. You have to like reach in there and turn this. And then that's what I was saying, like you got to be careful about like breaking that joint by turning it the wrong way, trying to get him transformed. This is what he looks like on the box. He looks a little bit better because his legs are like pointed up and all his legs are like closer together somehow. I'm not sure how they got that effect. Yeah, I don't know. And this joint just worries me too much. I'm not going to fiddle with it. So now we go ahead and get him into his combined mode. So we can go ahead and pull his gun off. We're going to get this crown out that King Ojer is going to need to wear. it's kind of like clipped on really hard. It's kind of difficult to get off. And the nice thing about this is it's not made of rubber, which is what I was expecting. So it's actually a hard plastic, very nice. This guy actually doesn't have any rubber parts, which is a nice departure. And then we're gonna just straighten out the spider mode, get him all pretty much straight. And then this is gonna be the connection point here now. And you're just gonna slide this onto King Ojer's back. And then you're gonna face these feet. Oh no, you're just gonna kind of transform him like you're putting him back into robot mode. And then you're gonna just fold these knees the wrong direction. And these are gonna become like King Ojer's shoulder cannons, I guess. I guess that's what this little tiny detail is supposed to represent. And then, yeah, with these side legs, I don't even know what you do. I didn't watch the direction videos or anything. I guess I just like to have these kind of, because King Ojer's legs are so scrawny at this point, I just kind of like to have these pointed down and maybe like fill up his leg section a little bit. And then again, you got these universal joints are kind of weird. You just got to be careful, like you're not trying to push things the wrong way, the way they're not supposed to go. So you have to be like kind of mindful when you're handling this guy that you're not torquing the joint the wrong way. But basically it goes like this, and this is going to be the backpack that you just slide on to King Ojer. Okay, so it's a little bit messy, but I'll do my best. So we got the dragonfly comes off the back here. And you can see there's kind of like a tab here. And that's where you're going to slide the abdomen of the spider. And he just clicks right in place, and that's a nice sturdy connection. And now you have a giant spider on this guy's back. And then you kind of just manipulate these so they look kind of like over the shoulder cannons. This is how it looks like on the box. The toes are pointed up, which looks kind of weird, kind of like a V shape. There you go, and then you're gonna rotate his helmet antenna back, and then you're gonna put this piece on, which is another like piece of annoyance is like, it's got like these tiny little friction tabs, and that frictions onto the crest of his head here. So like when you start putting it on, you're like, I don't even know how this connects. It doesn't seem like it's gonna stay on, but you'll eventually get it and it'll lock into place. But then when it's in place, oh, actually, it's locked in there pretty good. Never mind. I guess I did it wrong the first time. So once you got it in place correctly, this will actually attach very securely. So never mind that other part. Yeah, you'll know you did it wrong if it can like flop around. And then we'll just like adjust his feet. And then he can pretty much stand. Okay, and miraculously enough, this guy can actually stand up and is not too back heavy. I think it helps to have the giant cannon balance him out. But you can see he's got like a whole giant spider on his back. Oh yeah, I forgot to say you have to slide the dragonfly component that just slots right onto the crotch of the Tarantula Knight. And then it locks nicely into place, and now you have like some wings on the back of this mess. And I mean, just look at this thing. Like, can you even figure out what is what? It's just crazy looking. There's so many insect legs just everywhere. It's really insane looking, and let's just make it even more ridiculous. Let's go ahead and start attaching these random pieces. So I'm just going to put this like in the Tarantula Knight's hand. I guess I'll just put this on the same side that the giant cannon is on. Why not? So you get this extra little cannon pointing off to the side, and then why don't we just add these little guys on too? You can... there's like a couple different ways you can handle this. I like to put it, obviously this isn't the legendary King Ojer because it should have a giant scorpion for an arm. And then all this should actually be clipped onto the back of the dragonfly here to make it even worse looking. But I actually prefer to just have the sword in his hand, especially since I never bought the scorpion. So you can take the sword and you can actually do some kind of cool customizing. You can put the cicada. I think this is probably my favorite thing to do is you put the cicada up here, and now you have kind of like a trident weapon. So that's not too bad looking. It doesn't look worse than the original weapon, that's for sure. It looks kind of the same, but it kind of like makes it a little bit cooler, I guess. And then you could also maybe even use this chainsaw attachment and give it like a chainsaw. Unfortunately, you have to put on like the back because this blade sticks out too far. But you can get like a kind of chainsaw attachment to this and maybe like even wrap this around a little bit. It's too bad it doesn't fit on the front of the weapon. That would have been much cooler. But that's not going to work because this blade just gets in the way. So I like to just put the Cicada on, make this a trident, put this back in his hand, and then put the chainsaw on one of these like dangling spider arms that's just randomly back here. Why not just clip it right there, turn that into a chainsaw. There you go. Now all the insects are on him. Let's go ahead and look at him. All right, here he is with all his various insects on him, and he just looks insane. Yeah, I don't think putting a giant scorpion on his arm is going to make him look any better. This is just like the thing I don't like about Sentai, is just some of these crazy combinations where you just throw everything together. I'm hoping the next combination looks really good and they do something with his feet, because he's got clips under there to like make his legs thicker. But yeah, I'm hoping when all these figures come together with the castle, it's going to be a really cool looking robot. But right now you can see it's just a cluster. It's just that typical Power Rangers looking robot, but it's got some appeal to it. I could see how like having the scorpion arm kind of maybe balance this out, but then you'd have to have the whole sword on the back. I don't know. To me, this robot looks like 5. It's definitely worse than he looks separate. And then here he is with just King Ojer like wielding the chainsaw and the Cicada. It's pretty cool. It still bugs me that this can't just clip onto the side of the arm, because it would make a cool looking like shield, like claw combo, but no, it's got to go. It only fits this way, unfortunately. But yeah, I think he looks pretty good. This set, the Tarantula Knight and the Cicada and the Centipede, it cost me like $126 on Amazon. It's pretty expensive. I don't know if it was really kind of worth the money. He's like smaller than King Ojer. King Ojer, I think, was like less than $90. Yeah, it's kind of pricey. So you'd have to really be a fan to like jump in on this one. Plus the combo doesn't look very good. Maybe in the final combo, I have a feeling this guy's probably not even going to be in the final combo, and it's really just going to be King Ojer and all the other insects, but I guess we'll find out. And here's a stripped down version of King Ojer that I like. And I think these two look pretty good together, because now King Ojer's like as skinny as Tarantula Knight. So they look like a pretty good set. And here's how he looks with some of the other insects. So he actually scales pretty well with King Ojer. They're about the same size. And then here he is with Beast Wars, why not? Which is like way out of scale with everything. But yeah, it's really up to you whether you'd get this figure. I mean, it's got the color matching issue, which is kind of annoying. The transformation is just oddly complicated. It doesn't make sense. Just because he has so much articulation, it actually makes it more difficult. But yeah, I do enjoy this figure. I'm hoping that the last combination will make up for everything, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. All right, see you in the next one.